I learned about Bitcoin when the white paper came out, like not too long after. I was telling friends about it just because I thought it was a great concept. I wasn't that into the tech side, so I actually didn't start mining, unfortunately, right away. I ended up starting to buy years later, like around $210 a coin, and just kind of wrote it up. My last big purchase was at 40,000. And if you guys wanted to sell me Bitcoin today, I'd probably buy it from you today at 62. I would have bought it at 69, which is the all-time high. It's just, I think it's going to go way higher. I might be wrong. You know, at the end of the day, I don't have a crystal ball or anything like that, but I just think it's a better way to transfer value. And I want to share what got me excited about these projects. And before I get into the presentation, I'll tell you really what attracted me to the group that's building this project. They had started a project called Gala Games and told me about it back in 2017, 2018 as they were developing it. And as I go through the presentation, you'll understand what a node is. If you're familiar with Bitcoin, it's like a mining node or whatever, like an Antminer, but it's software-based. The nodes for our projects are software-based. But what I love about their projects is their real-world relations. So every one of their rewards is based on real-world revenue and real-world utility, which is not the case with about any other cryptocurrency on the planet. And so I want to go through our projects real quick. Let me see if I can share my screen, and then I'll go through it. I'll share my story about Gala and what really got me kind of connected to these guys. Can you guys see my screen okay? Got it? Good. All right. So our project, the first blockchain, Connect, it lives on what's called the Wind blockchain. There's 14 major projects that are in play right now. There's a few more projects that are coming down the pipeline. If you're new to blockchain, you know, I first explained it as a little simpler terms than Herb did. I look at the internet as really, in its simplest form, it allows us to share information freely, real time, without having to wait on a third party to get that information. And those of us that are old enough to remember needing to wait for the news to come on so we could see what the weather was going to be tomorrow or the 10-day forecast, now you guys can tell me what's going to happen in Puerto Rico tomorrow. Is it going to rain? Is it going to be hot? You know, what's going to happen? I can tell you what's going on in Sydney. Just from here, we can figure out if it's raining in Tokyo, you know, today. That is all information that's available to us due to the internet. The internet's centralized, one big spot. You know, all our data kind of, if Amazon gets hacked and you've got data there, they've got your data. It's all in one place. While the internet allows us to share information, and you look at the people that were the early adopters of the internet, you know, Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs, you know, Zuckerberg came in the middle part, you know, social media, Elon Musk with PayPal, you know, creating payments on the internet before anybody was really doing that. People that adopted that technology, you know, they're household names, the pioneers in that space. While the internet allows us to share information freely, the blockchain allows you to share value freely and way more securely than a centralized internet. What I mean by that is you got all these different computers that connect up to make a blockchain, and almost all the solid decentralized blockchains, if I have my social security number that sits in Wells Fargo Bank and Wells Fargo gets hacked, they've got my bank information. If I had my social security in tax forms on the Opus blockchain, what's funny is if somebody hacked one of the computers on the blockchain, they might get 2 numbers of my social. If my credit card's on there, they might get 4 numbers of my credit card. They wouldn't get 16 numbers. If my bank checking account, routing number, and account number on there, they might get 2 numbers or 3 numbers instead of 10 numbers, because a different computer has the other numbers, and a different computer randomly are given access to those other numbers. So it's way more secure, but the ability to share value real time without the need of, can you still see my screen, Patty?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wait, hold on. Yes.
It looks weird now.
It did look.
Let me reshare, just if I can. So let's see if this works. So being able to share the value real time, a lot of people think about that as currency, which is, I guess, one way to do it. But with us, slideshow. With us, we're able to share more than just currency as value. So, I tell people, if I wanted to wire you guys $100,000 for a project and you are living in Australia, tonight my bank's closed. And so I got to wait till tomorrow. I got to call them. And then I need your bank information. And then it's an international wire, so it might be Friday before the money gets there. Now, if you guys are involved in blockchain, you can say, hey, I'll just give you a Bitcoin wallet address, and I can send you $100,000 tonight within minutes, and the transaction's done. And it'll be a lot cheaper than sending it through a wire, depending on the network. But I've sent 7 figures in Bitcoin and paid $1.27 in transaction fees before. So that's a better way to transfer funds. And the basics behind it is it's the technology upon which cryptocurrency is built. It's been adopted faster than any technology in history. It's impacting virtually every industry in the world. Even Elon Musk says it's definitely a better way to transfer value than a piece of paper. It's actually, I got to update these numbers because over the last few months, it's close to double the amount of cryptocurrency owners. It's growing pretty quickly. The Bitcoin ETFs here in the United States hold over 192,000 Bitcoin and growing. It's accepted by payments by more and more major brands, major companies. The value is really determined by supply and demand, the market's utility for the coin, market sentiment, and there's certainly other factors as well. The way to acquire cryptocurrencies: mining through node ownership, proof of action through rewards with our cryptocurrency, and purchasing from a friend, a broker, or an exchange. Cryptocurrency is only available to purchase in our ecosystem when a node owner or reward recipient are willing to part with it. And that's a little different than a lot of ICO kind of programs, pump and dumps, where they're like, we're selling our coin. We don't have ICO. Like, no tokens exist until the nodes start mining the transactions, similar to Bitcoin. The node works, as I kind of explained earlier. It's like having a cell phone tower, and you're basically renting that farmer's land. If you're a cell phone company, Verizon, AT&T here in the United States, are using that farmer's land to basically transition their network further and further around the country, around the world. If the farmer has that cell tower on their land, they're getting, usually it's leased, they're getting paid every month for basically allowing the network to use their land and their tower. Our nodes are pretty much the same. We're basically, instead of borrowing your land to put a cell tower on, we're saying, hey, you can purchase software in any of our projects. And if you purchase software in one of our projects and we're going to borrow your computer power, we'll give you tokens in that cryptocurrency as a reward for letting us use your computer power. And I'll go through some of the projects, because blockchain can solve a lot of issues that surround the world today. And for folks that want to participate in the blockchain in our ecosystem, they can become a node owner, purchase software, or they can help others become node owners as well. If you do both, it'll maximize rewards. I'm not going to go through the whole disclaimer. This is recorded. You can pause and go through it. Here's what I tell people. There's no guarantees. What we're trying to accomplish has never been accomplished before. And there's a chance that we don't pull it off. And if we don't, the tokens that you're getting is magic internet money that's never going to be worth anything. If we do pull it off, the tokens will probably be worth more than gold. And what I love about these projects as I get into them is people like us that are on this webinar, we can move the needle. Like, we can make it so more and more people are interested in our projects. We can make it so more and more people learn about our projects, which makes our value of our tokens go higher and higher as the user base grows. It's tied to real world revenue. There's several different partner brands. I'm going to go through just a few of them briefly. Galvin is our health and wellness app. It's basically an app you can download on your smartphone. You can hook it up to a wearable as well, but it'll just with the voice. It uses AI that Amazon Alexa uses. Over 2,500 inflections in the human voice. It'll let you know every morning, every afternoon, every evening, whenever you want. You can assess yourself. It'll tell you whether you're higher energy than normal or lower. It'll tell you whether your stress level's high, normal, or low. And if it says, hey, your energy is a little low today, it'll give you some things to do to increase your energy level. And if you do them, it'll reward you in cryptocurrency. So it's basically bribing you to get healthier. But at the end of the day, the long-term goal of Dr. Sharp, and he helped to start this project, but it's fully decentralized. That's what's great about it. His vision for this is for millions, if not a billion plus users, sharing their information anonymously. Their health information, their genealogy, like DNA, anonymously, and letting all of the best scientists, physicians, let some of the best AI in health and wellness go through that data. And if we pull that off years from now, there'll be no such thing as a rare disease. AI would be able to assess everybody's data almost instantaneously. And if you had a child that you thought had a pretty rare illness, AI might say, no, there's 47,832 people that have had these symptoms. These 14,000 were treated with this medicine, with this herb, with this routine, and it works. And that's what you should do here. That's where we want to head, is allowing each and every one of us to take ownership of our health. Because right now, I know in the United States, we don't really have that ownership. Grow is another one of my favorite projects. We have farms all over the United States, one here in Puerto Rico as well, that are part of this project, where it allows us to know what food we're putting in our body and what that food ate that we're putting in our body. Because if you think about it, I know around the world, there's about 10 companies that control everything we eat. And a lot of them fall under Monsanto, Cargill. There's a few big corporations around the planet, whether it's Nestle or Unilever, Mondelez, which was Kraft Foods, Kellogg's, General Mills, Mars, I don't know if it's food that we're getting from a lot of these companies as much as it's chemicals. Like if you ever read ingredients lists. And so what I love about Grow, and I have a Grow farm near me, I can actually use my Grow tokens and buy my steak. I can buy vegetables, eggs, milk, whatever I want. And everything they sell has a QR code. Imagine going to a restaurant and you order a steak and it comes out with a QR code, and when you snap it, it says, hey, Connie, this is cattle number 1176459. It was sourced from Stone Creek Farms in Brisbane, Australia. It's a free-range organic cow. It was never injected with any hormones, never injected with any steroids. We processed it right here on the farm 2 days ago. It was packed, shipped, refrigerated, never frozen to the restaurant, and now you're enjoying it at the 48-hour mark. And so you'll know that cattle ate 1,167.5 pounds of grass during its free-range lifespan, and literally fruits, vegetables. You'll know whether it's really organic. You'll know whether there were pesticides sprayed all over it. And I think there's a huge value for people nowadays, especially with all these big conglomerates and what they're putting in our food. It's really valuable for us to understand what we're putting in our bodies. And the farmers can get outside of the huge global commodities markets and go direct to consumers. I can go right to that farm and purchase. Pretty soon I'll be able to have delivery. I'll have it drop shipped. I'll have all the meats, the eggs. I'll just set them up to bring them to me. And we are adding more and more farms throughout the United States, and eventually we're going to add more and more farms around the world, so you can control the food that goes into your body and know exactly where everything came from. Element, Scott Lomu helped to start this project. He was on a show here in the United States called Jungle Gold. And what he realized, he was bringing opportunity to a lot of communities in Africa. He was in West Africa doing a lot of gold mining at that time. But as he looked back, there's a lot of corruption involved. And then when they left, some of the mining areas where they mine, it's just holes in the ground. And so he created this blockchain project to get a certification on the blockchain that your mining is done ethically You want to make sure there's no 12-year-old at gunpoint digging for cobalt so you can have a smartphone. But also, after the mining is finished, they want to make sure that you're coming back and reclaiming the land and growing, mangrove trees or putting in soil so it's farmable. And that way, you're doing an honor to the communities that you came in and obviously helped with some opportunity, but you're not leaving them with dead land behind. And down the road, this is kind of more long term, we want to be able to have the bigger gold miners, if they know there's $100 million worth of gold in one vein, to leave it in the ground. NFT it, put it on the blockchain, and then sell it. And maybe I have an NFT that I've got $42,000 worth of gold in that vein. It's mine. They know exactly where it is using technology. And I could sell it. I could keep it. I could let it appreciate. And they don't even have to dig it up. Now, that does two things. One, saves the environment in a big, big way. Two, it's cheaper. Because if you have an ETF or if you own gold, a lot of people don't own the bullion. They don't own the actual gold. It's sitting in a reserve somewhere in Australia or in the United States at Fort Knox. We have a lot of gold there in New York. The Federal Reserve has a lot of gold there. And if I have some kind of gold certificate, it's just saying my gold is sitting there in Fort Knox. Well, what if I had a blockchain certificate that said my gold is in the ground at this, gold mine off the Gold Coast or whatever, and it's like, this is where it is. I could get that gold for probably $200 an ounce cheaper because it costs about $200 an ounce to get it out of the ground. So if I just left mine in the ground, I'd have a better price than any gold on the planet. And if there's no shortage in gold, why keep digging it up if you don't have to? So that's what the Element blockchain is about. Switch is our banking blockchain. The CEO of Switch is Kathy Roberts. She was one of the founders of Discover Card here in the United States. She was the president and chief operating officer of Discover Bank. Came out of retirement to help us with this project because she wanted to help people that were unbankable become bankable. This is by far the best crypto wallet I've ever seen. The on-ramp is amazing. You can use a credit card up to $10,000 with no KYC. Buy Bitcoin, and it's available within 5 minutes. You can move it to whatever wallet you want to move it to. Once you have it, it comes into a non-custodial wallet, meaning you own the keys, it's your keys, your crypto. If we went out of business tomorrow and you had your 12 seed phrase, you could recover your crypto, it's yours. The other thing that's great about this wallet, if you have your login set up, your 2FA, and you lose your seed phrase, normally you can't get it back. You better set up a new wallet and move it over. Here you could actually get it back, and we don't have your seed phrase. Switch does not have your seed phrase. It's broken up between 3 to 4 nodes. So when you go through your 2FA or your bio markers or whatever it is that logs you in, it can send you can re-request your 12 seed phrase, and it'd be like 3 to 4 random computers would have a piece of it, and you'd be the only one that would have eyes on the whole phrase. And so that solves a lot of issues for people that are newer into the crypto space. We have a custodial wallet as well. I wouldn't keep a bunch of your money in the custodial wallet unless you were ready to use it on the marketplace. But anything you keep in the custodial wallet, we can use a Visa card in a lot of places around the world, anywhere Visa is accepted. If you have Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDT, or USDC in your custodial wallet, it's immediately available on your Visa card. You go to a restaurant, you swipe your card for a couple $100, it'll convert Bitcoin into USD or AUD, and it'll pay off your Visa right then and there as a debit. And so it allows my mom, who's not crypto savvy, to use crypto. She could pay her cell phone bill with her Visa card. She knows how to use her Visa card for sure. So if she had Bitcoin and we moved into that custodial wallet, all of a sudden she's using her Bitcoin, which is great. You can also off-ramp, not just onto your Visa, but you could wire me funds. You could wire yourself funds for sure, but there's I don't know any other wallet or exchange where you could actually wire funds to someone else. You have to wire it to you and you alone. And so we're a better version of a lot of the wallets and the exchanges that are out there on the marketplace. And it's just now starting to get bigger and bigger. One of our newest projects is Revo Rideshare. This is like Uber, but it's on the blockchain. So imagine getting paid to take a ride. get in the car. Imagine as a driver, you get paid money, but you also get tokens for giving the ride. Imagine tipping the driver and getting more tokens because we want to incentivize tipping. It's a revenue generating activity. Imagine the driver getting a tip and getting more tokens because they did a good job driving. And if I'm a driver and I don't want tokens, I want groceries, I can sell those tokens back to you. And maybe you buy them because you want to take another ride. And listen, the ride, maybe it's 50 Australian dollars, but if you use the tokens, it's only 45. And because of Switch, you could use your credit card or debit card, you could buy the tokens right then and there with a couple clicks. So we're creating that ability for people to utilize blockchain without having to know they're utilizing blockchain. They'll just know like, hey, Uber doesn't pay me to take rides. These guys do. I'm gonna take the one that pays me. We're getting ready to launch a meeting blockchain software like this. I can't wait till I don't ever have to use Zoom again. And it's unfortunate for you guys because if we were on the new blockchain-based meeting software, I would have a paid version, so I would get rewards for each one of you being on here, and I would just give you the rewards if you signed up for our free wallet. But I can't do that yet because that project's not open yet. But I'd say we're a week or two away from being able to do that, which is pretty awesome. Again, I don't know what all meeting software you guys use in Australia. We have Google Meet here. We got Microsoft Teams. We've got Zoom, GoToMeeting. There's a bunch of them, but nobody's loyal to any of them. If Patty and Herb would have sent us a GoToMeeting link, we'd probably be on there. If they'd have sent us a Google Meet, we'd be on there. But pretty soon, they'll only send, we call it Rally, R-A-L-L-Y. So it's like, I'll send you a link to the Rally instead of a Zoom, or Google Meet. It's like, hey, let me send you a link to the Rally. We'll talk about the blockchain stuff. And then you'll get free cryptocurrency for getting on there. So that's where we're headed. Our legal team is second to none in the industry. The United States is one of the strictest as far as regulatory bodies in the cryptocurrency space. So it's almost like if you're okay to do business in the U.S., you're okay to do it pretty much anywhere in the world. I'm moving inside sprinkler time here. But at the end of the day, we have the ability to make sure that we're crossing the T's, dotting the I's, doing everything the right way to the best of our ability. And that's really what this legal team is designed to do. King Cuccinelli is the lead advisor. He was the Attorney General for the state of Virginia here in the United States, and then he was the Director of Homeland Security for the United States of America for about 3 years. So very well connected, making sure that we're doing things the right way. To get in, it all starts for free. Whoever invited you on to the webinar tonight, they can send you a link. Once they send you that link, you can set up a free wallet. It's free, and you can start earning rewards pretty much instantaneously. If you introduce others to get the free wallet, it gives you some more rewards. If you want to get a little more advanced, you can get what's called a WIN node. The WIN blockchain is our sales and marketing blockchain. It basically gives you bonus rewards on every other mining node from every other project. That's the easiest way to explain it. It's $500 a year. It's actually $2,000, but there's a coupon that's live right now. I'm trying to get it extended past March 7th. I think I'm going to. I don't have, and not that it's me, I don't own the company, but we have votes, one node, one vote. And there's a group of us that have quite a few nodes that are all wanting to vote to keep the price at 500 through the rest of it. I can't guarantee the vote will go that way because there's other node owners, and if they wanted to raise it back to 2,000, that's what'll happen. But I can't imagine they'll vote the other way because I think a lot of people like having that coupon available. But you can get, one WIN node. There's a lot of people who are buying 5 of them. There's a little bit of an advantage with our mining algorithms to have 5 of them. But those nodes, they're annual. You have to repurchase those nodes every year. The cool thing about it is the education that Herb was talking about, if you go through it, you go through our compliance training, you earn WIN tokens. Right now, it's about $2,500 a year worth of WIN tokens. So you never have to use your money to pay for it every year. If you just go through the education, you can just use the tokens and keep buying the nodes annually and keep getting the rewards. The other projects that we talked about, Switch, Galvin, Grow, Element, the Rev Rideshare blockchain, the meeting blockchain, those you can participate in as well.
The price of those nodes start at $2,500. There's 100,000 nodes for each of those projects, and every 100 nodes sold, the price goes up $100. You don't need to understand all this just all at once. It's a lot of numbers, but like the switch nodes, I bought them in October for $4,000. I know Patty and Herb bought one not long ago for around $9,000. So there's a lot of people between October and last month that bought a lot of switch nodes, so the value went up quite a bit. The rev nodes are pre-sale, the meeting nodes are pre-sale, so those are $2,500. And pre-sale is pretty cool. Again, there's several different projects. I only highlighted a few of them. There's 70% total payout that goes into the node network, and 30% goes into decentralized operations on all of the projects. But if enough node owners voted, and let's say the rideshare project got to scale, and it only needed 20% to operate, the node owners could vote to have 20% go to the operations and 80% go to the node owners. The node owners own the company basically. So if you're a software owner, one node, one vote. Blockchain technology, the World Economic Forum just said this back in 2021. It's geared to disrupt over $897 trillion in traditional markets, and I think of that number, and it's hard for the mind to fathom 897 trillion, but we can position ourselves in the middle of that disruption, which is exciting times. And so for people that are interested in participating, I say, hey, get a free account, start going through the education. If you want to do more, pick up a Win node, or if you sell 5 Win nodes, we'll give you a free one. You never have to spend any money to be involved in our projects, but I've spent quite a bit, as Herb said. I do believe in these projects wholeheartedly. Complete the compliance training, earn free tokens for doing that, share your link with others, and you're on your way to creating a massive community. And my background has really been in traditional business. I've started several companies. 3 of them have done over $1 billion in a single year. One of them did $10 billion over 2 years. And I look at these projects from a philosophical standpoint, and I always think about helping people, like making sure there's a long-term relationship, there's service leadership. But the concern I have, if God said it's my time, who comes in behind me, and do they have the same philosophy? Would they cut the commissions? Would they fire people and just take the money out of the operating account? And I guess there's no way of knowing that until it happens. What I love about the blockchain is the community that builds it runs it. And you'd probably never see the community cut their commissions and stop paying themselves. And that's the beauty of these projects. And I'm heavily invested in all of them. In October, I bought $3 million worth of nodes. And I told you I kind of wrap up with the Gala game story. When my friend told me about Gala, I invested $10,000 into their nodes. He said, you got to get these nodes. I was like, what's a node? He's like, it's software. They'll pay to use it. And it was paying magic internet tokens. It was like monopoly money. It wasn't worth anything. And I ended up buying. This was early 2018. And the project was taking forever to get going. And so he ended up, a lot of people were complaining. And my buddy Tomas, he had bought like 500,000 worth, and I think he sold 300,000 worth to a bunch of us that were working in his company. And he just bought everybody's back. And he wasn't happy either. He was pissed that the project was taking so long, but he didn't want people to think he took advantage of them or whatever. So he bought all their nodes back, and a lot of people stopped complaining. But I called him, I was like, hey, I don't want my nodes back. And he's like, I've got to kind of give everybody, because he's like, if I piecemeal it, it's going to be real tough to track. He's like, just call me and you can buy the nodes back. I got busy. I have a lot of different companies and stuff. Even back then, I was pretty busy. And I just forgot. I got just tied up with other stuff, and I never purchased those nodes back.
And I mean, even today, Gala Games, their daily volume is like 100+ million a day in trading on CoinMarketCap if you check it out. And depending on when I would have sold the rewards, the $10,000 worth of nodes back in 18 generated enough rewards. Well, I'll give you a good example. I talked to a guy today, heavy in the crypto space, and I go, "Do you guys know Gala?" And the guy goes, "I bought Gala nodes from a guy in 2020. A guy sold him 2 nodes for $1,000 in 2020, and the rewards it generated, he goes, I made 384,000 USD on it." And I just was thinking, I was like, man, I would have had 2 more years of rewards on my nodes than you had. I would have had probably 5 to 10 times the nodes you had. And I was looking at $5 to $10 million in rewards, depending on when I would have exited. And so the same group that's involved, they had 10 developers in that project back in 2017, 2018. They have 200 now. They have a 21,000 square foot office space in Utah, US-based developers, but they have people helping and developing all over the world. But they're better now, way better now than they were back in 17 or 18. The projects, as cool as it was for Gala Games for me to buy a cow on a game that I'm playing on my phone, and I could buy it and sell a dragon to Patty, and she could play that game, you know, that she wanted to with the medieval game. That's cool. There is some real world value there, but that's not as cool as a real cow and being able to buy meat and fruits and vegetables with a cryptocurrency. And the thing that's great about our ecosystem, there's several things, but it's synergistic. When you look at like the Ethereum blockchain, there's 600+ projects. They're all fractured. They're all kind of competing with each other for the gas fees and things like that. Our projects are intertwined. If I had meeting tokens and I took them to the farm that's 7 miles away from me, they would accept them and give me my groceries. Now, behind the scenes, they would use the exchange to transfer my meeting token, the rally token, into the grow token and then give me my groceries. But I wouldn't even need to know that happened. I would just know, hey, I got tokens for being on these meetings and I bought food with it. That's a cooler real world utility, in my opinion, than buying a cartoon animal off a farm game that I'm playing on my phone. Being able to ride an Uber-like ride share and use a token instead of having to use money, that's a better real world utility than Bitcoin, which doesn't have a ton of real world utility. The buy side on Bitcoin, it's always been speculative. That's why I bought at 210 a coin. I've never sold. I think it's undervalued now. I think it belongs at 250,000 and up. And so I won't sell below that number. Whether I'm right or wrong is irrelevant. I don't buy it for utility. I buy it because I think the value is going to go up. And the only reason the miners sell it, for the most part, they think the value is going to go up too. But if they're mining Bitcoin, they have to pay for power. They have to pay the electric bill. And most electric companies, unless you're in El Salvador or maybe Latvia, they don't accept Bitcoin. And so you have to sell it. It forces the liquidity in the market. What we do is real world value, real world revenue forces the utility, and it forces the value of our token. The more people using our rideshare, the more valuable that token. The more people using our meeting software, the more valuable that token. So that's the thing that I really love about these projects. I can move the needle. Gala, I wasn't going to be able to do too much because I'm not into that world. I don't play a lot of online games or anything like that. But I do a lot of meetings like this. I know people like Herb and Patty who do a lot of meetings like this. I'm sure Warren does a lot of meetings like this. So it's like, if we're getting paid to do meetings like this and we can help you guys get paid to do meetings like this, we'll all probably start doing meetings like this, because why wouldn't we? Why would we ever use another software that's not decentralized, that's not paying us to use it? And so that's really the nuts and bolts. I'll turn it back over to Herb and Patty. And again, happy to answer any questions, fill in any blanks.